In today's episode of Pride, we will meet the turtle upon which the world of the Kazakh-American artist Leila Ahmet Osman rests. We will get the chance to make a wish and walk along the old Almaty streets full of countless memories. And there will be a surprise when we'll get to the Medeu tract. Hello, my name is Aliftina Madyarova and this is Pride. Today's guest, as others before her, gives us a reason to be proud of Kazakh residents, as well as charges us with her positive attitude to life. Meet the focus of this episode, the Kazakh-American artist Leila Ahmet Osman. Half of the world has seen her work, which is full of symbolism and mysticism. Her style is recognizable, and the symbol of inspiration makes you smile. Leila Ahmet Osman creates paintings, tapestries, designer accessories, and clothes, and all of them under the sign of the lucky turtle. The turtle that people in many countries know and love. Where did Leila's inspiration come from, and how did the famous turtle come about? Leila Ahmet Osman, born on October 4, 1973. Graduated Jurgenov Kazakh National Academy of Arts in Almaty and Seattle Central Creative Academy. Artist, designer, founder of the Lucky Turtle brand. Turning your favorite hobby into a lifelong business is not something everyone can do. However, the heroine of our program is a lucky one. How else to explain that from early childhood she knew exactly what she wanted to do? What played a bigger part, talent and luck, or perseverance and diligence? It is difficult to say, but the fact remains, Leila has been doing what she has always dreamt of. My mother says that I was born with a brush in my hands. I draw as long as I can remember myself. As long as my mother remembers me, I always draw. Anyone who knows Leila and has been to her exhibitions without difficulty will be able to recognize this symbol, if not to say this character. There's a whole story with the turtle. In 1998, it was in general an interesting year. We even bought a house, which also turned out to be of 1998, which is interesting. Before that, we bought another house, but then we moved. 1998 always accompanies me from the past to the present. I mean, before 1998, it was a difficult period. Emotionally, physically. I always was in a bad mood. My personal life was unsatisfactory. It was the 90s. Artists did not struggle that much, but they were often deceived. People would give an order and not pay or delay the payment. The magic numbers accompanies Leila throughout her life. Even calendar dates can turn into mystical signs. And I've given up on myself. I was unlucky. In the same 1998, we, teachers, were asked to write a dissertation. And for some reason, at a young age, I was interested in the topic of creation of life. Why we came into this life, where we came from, where we will go after. What is the purpose of our life?
Мировоззрение народов мира, то есть как образовалась жизнь на земле у каждого народа.
That's why I chose to write about constructivism, the worldview of the peoples of the world. That is, how life on Earth appeared according to each nation. Working on such a serious topic required thorough preparation and study of the material, and this period became a turning point in the artist's life. I'd been studying religious books such as the Bible, Quran, Torah, Bhagavad Gita, different Buddhist movements, and I transferred all my knowledge into drawing. That's why my first exhibition was Conceptual Art and Symbolism. Each painting had its own meaning, and by chance, in Pushkin's library, where I usually worked, I saw in one of the books a square with numbers. This seemingly insignificant find kickstarted a new stage in Leila's life. Since childhood, I like summing up numbers, wherever I am. I could see numbers on a bus, or in a taxi, or in a building. I will always count them down to one whole. I have always believed that if the number is even, then I'll be out of luck. And if the number is odd, and if it's odd, then I will definitely be lucky. I just began to count. This way 15, and this way 15. Diagonally is also 15. The sum is always 15. I was wondering why. I've never seen anything like this, but I decided to use this in my art. She decided to use the magic square as the basis for only one of the sketches. Then, no one could imagine what fame it will bring to the young artist. I came to the workshop, laid out a few sheets, sketches, and began drawing. I drew one composition with a square. It was somehow boring. Something was missing. Although I added some more details, it still wasn't interesting. Then I added a bird, some other animals. It didn't work either. I didn't like it. And then I draw, without even thinking, a circle, a hand. And then I looked, it was a turtle. Even before the opening of the exhibition, a friend of Leila's saw the sketch and remembered a curious legend. Surprisingly, Leila had never heard it before, because the coincidence is absolutely fantastic. So, according to the legend, 4,000 years ago, between Tibet and China, in the province of Lushu, lived a poor fisherman. Once he saw a huge turtle emerging from the water, which had 9 squares on its back. Each square had dots, for example, 2, 9, 5. He counted these numbers, the total was 15. After that, a favorable and prosperous life began for the inhabitants of Lushu province. Their wishes came true. Droughts, floods went away. The fisherman became the emperor of this province. The legend quickly spread around the world by word of mouth. There was no radio or television then. The science of Feng Shui appears in China. Each digit has its own direction: north, south, west, east. In Malaysia, the science of color emerges. Each digit has its own color, which is a very useful, necessary even science for us, artists, architects, and designers. In India, the science of cosmo-energy appears. Each digit has its own energy. In Europe, the Pythagorean table. In the Arab world, mathematics, geometry, astrology, numerology also emerge after this seemingly simple square. But the square is also a symbol that all desires can come true, if only a person learns to dream.
Символом, что все желания исполняются. Человек только должен научиться мечтать.
And so, inspired by the symbolism of science that literally breathed new life into her work, Leila for the first time decided to present her paintings and tapestries to the public. Miracles started to happen. My whole life turns 180 degrees in a positive sense. Everything started as if on a wave. The first exhibition in the Kosteyev Museum was a blast. Then various awards, Jiger, Shabbat Grand Prix, various diplomas. Then an exhibition takes place in Astana, also with success. There, people from Moscow got interested, prepared an exhibition, held it in such large galleries as Manege, Museum of Oriental Arts, Central House of Artists, next door St. Petersburg, then Vienna, Amsterdam, Paris.
Дальше Санкт-Петербург, потом Вена, Амстердам, Париж.
Trips were coming one after another. The trip to Milan turned out to be especially important. The capital of Italian fashion had its own plans for the Kazakh artist. Another exhibition took place in Milan. I met a man there, fell in love with him, got married, left for America. In 2001, I did my personal exhibition. This is where the story begins, because up to this moment I hadn't associated my life or any changes in any way with this turtle. Of course, I didn't want to leave for America. I just wanted some changes. I wanted to exhibit my works, do my own thing, and at the same time earn money. So it's not just to be an artist. However, this lucky symbol later confirmed more than once that for those who believe, nothing is impossible. A girl, an American, Holly, came to the exhibition. She, who also considered herself unlucky until that moment, she says so herself, "I'm so unlucky." First of all, she had a weight problem. She worked as a security guard and could not complete her medical education. She couldn't get married, although she wanted to. And so she sees the painting, says, "You did it according to the legend, right?" I say, "During all this time, you are the second person to ask me this. Do you really know the legend?" She says, "You can make wishes on this turtle with numbers." The artist, despite all the love for this symbol, good-naturedly laughed at the naivety of this approach. But nevertheless, Holly did not abandon the beautiful symbol, but wanted to make a tattoo with it. 7 years have passed since that moment, since 2003. In 2010, I was working in one large corporation. I was given an assignment to go to a medical center, meet with their manager, find out all the information about their company, and make a video. And so I come together with Chris. We were waiting for the manager, and a beautiful woman comes our way. And she comes up to me and hugs me. But I don't recognize her. I say, "Do we know each other?" She says, "Leila, it's me, Holly." Was it the turtle tattoo or just self-confidence? It was not that important anymore. What mattered the most was that Leyla herself, with all her sincerity and thirst for life, continued creating and bringing people beauty and positive emotions. News about the success brought by the turtle were coming from all over the place. A colleague got a promotion at work, an old acquaintance got married, and so on and so forth. And the artist herself, believing in the best, decided to make her own life amazing, to do only what brings joy, to bring good and love into the world, to believe in the fulfillment of desires. As it often happens in creative arts, sooner or later the question arises: how to combine the joy of doing what Leyla loves with the need to ensure commercial success? The decision did not come immediately, but it turned out to be something unexpected. We launched a t-shirt line, we decided to try it out, see how people would react. We had an absolutely small budget because it was like a game to us. No one wanted to invest, and I remember putting in $500, thinking we have to return them. Not a single company wanted to work with us, saying that this amount of money won't be enough to make anything worthwhile. Nevertheless, we found a company. Leyla decided to sell her first t-shirts at the weekend art fair in Seattle. Someone would say, "I like the turtle, I'll just buy it." But we'd say, "No, make a wish. Don't believe, just make a wish. Only let us know if it will come true. Please be sure to let us know." We created a social media account, an email, and people started sending us reviews. And when I understood that there was something in this, I just quit the company.
И вот когда я понимаю, что в этом что-то есть, я увольняюсь в компании. Просто вот беру и увольняюсь.
It is surprising how many diverse projects stemmed out of this idea. Another unexpected result was the emergence of plans for the construction of such futuristic buildings. Several years ago, Leyla organized a festival called Stars Shine Only for Dreamers. This event brought together 67 artists from all over the world. It was there that Leyla met the Japanese architect Yuji Imayo. He wanted to take part in the project. He already had an idea how to design it. And so he created such an architectural structure. In fact, at that time in Almaty, in front of Abay Kazakh State Academic Opera and Ballet Theater, there was no Panfilov Street yet. And the city wanted to do something there. And Yuji Maya came up with an idea. See, here is where it was supposed to be. There was a contest, but the project was considered. But did not win.
Проект рассмотрели, но он не выигрывает его.
However, the project partners do not lose hope, and the architect is confident that this grandiose structure can be built anywhere in the world. It seems to me that visually it would fit into the architectural concept of our northern capital. Astana? Yes, just because this dome is made of protective glass, it does not break under my web. Yes, just because this dome is made of protective glass, it does not break under any weather, and it is warm inside. The most important thing, as you might have noticed, is that the symbol of fortune, the lucky turtle, with each passing year acquires more and more forms in Leyla's work, evolves and brings new waves of inspiration to its creator. There are a lot of projects. I just finished the second project of mine called Yantra Turtle. There are 9 digits, each has its own planet, each has its own color. This is all numerology, and the square reveals itself. This image is vivid and memorable, but the artist does not limit herself to it. The symbolism of her paintings and tapestries will leave few people indifferent. Are those zebras? So many of them. How do you come up with something like that? This is from my third exhibition. The first one was Conceptual Art and Symbolism. All the paintings were symbolic. The second was Decadence and Figurativism. And the third one was Modern Art, Modernism. And this is from the third exhibition, the last one. I worked more with spots, colors, and, as you can see, black and white, just like in our life. I liked these zebras the moment I laid my eyes on them.
Как, в принципе, и наша жизнь.
Меня вот с порога зацепили эти зебры.
Many of the ideas for paintings Leyla drew from literature and folklore, fairy tales, and epic poetry of different peoples. I made this work recently, several years ago. I read a Buryat fairy tale called The Fish Giant. According to Buryat mythology, the fish giant created the universe. In the beginning, there was an abyss, water. A big fish emerged from it and gave birth to planets. I currently work with the theme of planets, and this got me interested so much.
Тема планеты, и вот это меня так зацепило, я думаю, как-то вот все это очень интересно.
I heard from artists here in Kazakhstan that there are not so many tapestry makers, because this is a difficult and expensive art genre. Yes, it is. How much time did you spend, say, on this labyrinth? If I'll weave every day, this one doesn't have a complicated motif. For example, this one is more difficult because it has more details. It is graphic. But even then, all the same, it takes about a month and a half. Truth be told, not everyone can handle this time-consuming task. Unlike many local masters, Leyla did not limit herself exclusively to folk and historical motifs. But at the same time, she did not lose her originality. Her fantastic works catch the viewer's eye. It somehow consumes you, and you weave, but you think about something, about other things. You create an image of what you weave, but at the same time, there's a flow. And when you stop, you do not understand how these 5 or 6 hours have passed just like this, sitting. It's like yogis meditating. The same thing happens to me during weaving. Works in other genres are just as interesting. I made these sketches when I studied in the Seattle Central Creative Academy. We had a task to make an animated video, so I chose a fairy tale of Altai shamans called The Moon and the Shaman. All these figures in the end result moved. For example, shamans put their hands down, birds raise their wings. But it's not for me. I like it, but I would not want to do this all my life.
Это не моё. Мне нравится, но этим заниматься всю жизнь я бы не хотела.
The origin of this painting will become clear to anyone who has ever visited Seattle. The city of fairies and low-grade clouds does not have a lot of sunny days. Leyla admits that she is very impressed by the landscapes of the ocean merging with the sky, but sometimes cloudy weather makes it even difficult to breathe. This work is already finished, oil on canvas, and this is Seattle. This is typical Seattle weather. Once I was walking not far from my house and I saw, against such a gray background, a playground with many children in bright clothes, like flowers. Such a gray sky, sadness, and these children in bright colors symbolize the spring coming soon, the sun coming soon. There is no need to be sad or depressed. In fact, I drew my sons here. Exhibitions, trips, galleries, vernissages, and our Almaty girl Leyla is behind all this. And her Almaty soul is still here in the city where the artist was born and raised. Are these your favorite neighborhoods? I spent my childhood here, and adolescence and youth, and I think I'll grow my gray hair here too. Listen. You engage in so many areas: tapestries, paintings, graphics, jewelry. Well, I don't do jewelry per se. I make sketches and a master model, wax, and then I give it to professionals that do the casting themselves. What else? Well, animation, it's not my favorite, but I once made money with it. Despite such an impressive list, Leyla continues to strive for new things and tries her hand at different things. We want to make a documentary film. That is, we interview people, with their permission of course, and they are all in different languages. We took interviews in different situations, in different interiors. A girl gave us an interview right in a bathhouse. She says, "Oh, something huge happened to me. I want to tell you right now." And we are sitting, everyone in the bathhouse, sweating, while she tells her story. Another girl, we were sitting in a bar, in a restaurant, and she told how he lost a person, and the turtle found him. He was gone for half a year, and so she made a wish, and he calls her the next day.
Потеряла человека, и вот черепашка нашлась, полгода его не было, и вот она загадала желание, он ей звонит прямо на следующий день, и вот происходит.
Such moments, perhaps such walks along the streets of the hero's hometown, one of my favorite parts of the program. Seeing how my new friend's eyes light up, And the reason for this is the strength of the native city and the fond memories of the days of youth. I wanted to go to St. Petersburg, to Stieglitz State Academy of Art and Design, but my father said, no St. Petersburg, no other cities, you will study here, close to home. This is your alma mater. Yes. In general, I have a big connection with this building. 3 generations of my family studied or worked here. My grandfather worked here. It was the House of Government. Then, this building became the building of History and Law School of Al-Farabi Kazakh National University, and my father was a legal student there. Akkushka, Karlagashka, Ldinka. These are not just words for Almaty residents. These are symbols of the city, symbols of a bygone era. When I was admitted here, for me it was the happiest time in my life. Student years. I love my city, and I love the center, because I spent my childhood and youth here. How long have you lived in America? 20 years? Yes, you bring Kazakh art into the world and all the same, you return home. Yes, this is impossible. It seems to be difficult to leave Almaty. You can take the girl out of Almaty, but you can't take Almaty out of the girl, right? Probably so, yes. I love the city and the city center so much. And when you have this energetic connection, memories, all the more. I had a good childhood and a good youth. I've always been loved. My grandparents raised me. I knew my great-grandmother. She died when I was 12 years old. Leila admits that her great-grandmother was the strictest in terms of her upbringing. All the other family members, and especially grandparents, pampered her like a princess. All my relatives still live here, my uncles and aunts. Grandparents, unfortunately, have already passed away, but they gave me so much warmth. Did you know? Our heroine comes from an ancient noble family. Once, the name of her great-great-great-grandfather knew every resident in the city of Verne. So, you spent half of your life in the Almaty mountains. Yes, we can say that all my childhood and youth were spent here, in these mountains. And my great-grandfather, Medeu, was born here. Medeu? Yes. So your grandfather was named after the skating rink? The skating rink was named after him. He was born from my mother's side. Her great-great-grandfather. My grandmother was his great-granddaughter. This whole tract belonged to him, right up to the Prosvещенцы, the Council of Ministers bus stops, and even Furmanov Street, as my great-grandmother said once. Unbelievable, but fate led me to a direct descendant of that same Medeu Pusurmanov, after whom the most famous tract in Kazakhstan and one of 8 districts of modern Almaty are named. So this, where we stand now, this is your ancestral land? This is the land of my ancestors. My great-grandmother lived here all her life. She was born here and lived here until her death. And my grandmother was born and lived here. And my mother, her brothers and sisters, all 6 of them. All of them were born and lived here. When I was born, I also often came. My uncles had dogs of different breeds because the land was large. And I just ran with them there, with the dogs. We often climbed in the mountains with my uncles, with their friends. It was actually such a great time.
И с их друзьями. Вот это было на самом деле настолько такое прекрасное время.
Now, only a few neighboring buildings remind of that estate on the slopes of the mountains, and the arrangement of all trees, which once seemed to little Leila simply huge. Just before that, there was a road here, and there was a house there. These 3 birches are my mother, my aunt, and their sister. That is, 3 sisters. My grandfather called them that. This is how they grew up, my mother, Rosa, and Elmira. And my mother's name is Hafiza, so Hafiza, Rosa, and Elmira. Listening with what trepidation Leila talks about the days spent here as a child, you can vividly imagine this large and strong family, cool summer in the shade of the mountains, and sincere evening conversations. We cooked pilaf in a cauldron, on a fire. We had a samovar. My uncle still has it. Grandfather always made tea in a samovar, and this smell, I still remember it. It's so dear and so warm. My grandfather played the accordion, and everyone sang songs. Such a generation, they lived through such difficult times, but still, they remained such real people, knew how to be friends. They had Chechens, Ukrainians, Russians, Koreans, different peoples as friends.
И они вот умели дружить. И у них друзья были и чечены, и украинцы.
Not far from here are the stones that look exactly the same as they did many years ago. Once upon a time, children played here. It so happened that the great-great-great-granddaughter of Medeu was then friends with the descendants of the landowners, Можаевs and Yudins. This place, you know, the promised land is here. It is good here. At any time of the year, it is good here. Is this your place of energy? Yes, a place of rest. There is no need to rush anywhere. I would give everything to return to that time, so that the samovar would burn like before.
Чтобы вот так же был этот самовар горел. Это просто на самом деле эти моменты они...
Leila is a mother of 4. Knowing what a happy childhood is, she's not going to impose her hobbies on them. But she admits that she would be glad if one of them followed in her footsteps. Have the children inherited any of your talents? Does anyone draw? Mansour draws. This is my eldest son after my daughter. He draws very beautifully, and he has such an imagination. I look at his drawings and think, God, how did he come up with this? I would like him to become an artist, but he still considers his options. Wants to be an architect, probably. At one of the first exhibitions, Leila presented tapestries based on children's drawings of her daughter, and the work became a sensation. Now she's thinking of devoting one of her next projects to this very direction, to make a series of tapestries based on her childhood drawings and the first drawings her children made. Many art critics tell me that I'm just fixated on turtles. Is it difficult to come up with something else? And I say no, it's not difficult. It's just harder to come up with a lot of different ideas with the turtle. Turtle in numbers. But I want more. And when I'm already so tired, I think that's all. I won't work anymore. I'll be creating just for myself, as I am used to. But then, when I receive these reviews, these enthusiastic messages, I understand that no, I will do this. I cannot stop. Now Leila is preparing for the next major exhibition. And of course, the happy turtle will again be in the spotlight. This is some kind of a source of happiness or something. Because when I come, no matter what mood I'm in, I start working. Apparently, these energies, they give me such an incredible recharge that by 3 in the morning, I don't even understand that I want to sleep because I'm filled with energy. I work. In fact, this is the kind of work that brings me joy and pleasure. And of course, by now, she is driven not only by the love for beauty, but also by the belief in miracles. Oh, there were such stories. We collect them all. We have many stories in different languages too. Someone wanted to change their occupation. They change. Someone wanted to move to another country. They move. A lot of such interesting, unique stories. We recorded all of them. So, I became the owner of my own lucky turtle. I wish you the fulfillment of all desires, wealth, prosperity, and all the best. Amen. Thank you very much. Now you have a turtle, so make wishes. This is one of those moments when I just have to say that I love my job. I meet such wonderful people. Presented with such sincere wishes, given by the author herself, I think such a talisman simply cannot but bring good to its owner. I thought about it before. I thought it was either the turtle or the person. But then I realized that it works in symbiosis. This is really for those people who themselves want to do something in this life, for whom it's urgent. The turtle is like a symbol. It symbolizes dreaming, not losing heart, keep going. And here's the American version. Dream plus opportunity plus action equals lucky turtle. That is, if you dream, you will get it. Absolutely.
Является удачливая черепашка.
Как if you dream it, you do it. Или
You will get it.
You get it, да.
Абсолютно, так и есть.
We say goodbye to Leila and her turtles and say goodbye to pride, but not for long. New success stories and new reasons for pride are waiting for us, which means we will meet again. Yours, Aleftina Madiyarova.